Alright, so last night, one of my buddies and I went and saw one of my buddies. Um, I should say my only friend and I went to see The Disaster Artist. Um, I say my only friend because I mean when you're grown up and you have a family and you have a full time job, that's just the way things go. I mean, you're lucky to have a friend that you get to see every once in a while. Um, but yeah, so my only friend and I, we had this plan in the works for like a couple weeks where we wanted to see the Last Jedi. We wanted to see The Disaster Artist, and but neither of us had seen The Room. I knew about The Room, and I had seen like YouTube compilations of like the best scenes from The Room, and I bet I probably could have seen it without actually seeing The Room and still enjoyed it. Um, but anyway, that's our plan, or was our plan, and we had been trying to get this done for weeks, right? Like I was going to watch The Room in my own time, and he was going to watch The Room in his own time, and then we were finally going to meet up and go see The Disaster Artist. And finally, probably like a week before it's not going to be in the theater anymore, we got to go do that. Um, so yeah, okay. So we go to see The Disaster Artist, um, starring and written by James Franco, and both of us loved it. Like it was hilarious all the way through. We were laughing the entire movie. It was just really good, right? Really good time. Um, so if you don't know what The Disaster Artist is, it's a movie based on a book about the worst movie ever made, which is called The Room, um, by this kind of like quirky, weird director who also starred in his own movie, um, and it has been voted the worst movie ever made. And it has like this cult following now, and like they show it all across the country, midnight screenings, like nightly. Okay, movie has a huge cult following. Anyway, one of the actors from the making of that movie wrote a book about his experience in making this film, right? And how just wacky this director is that he worked with, Tommy Wiseau. And so that's what The Disaster Artist is. It's kind of like a fictional retelling of how life was making that movie, right? The worst movie ever made. Um, it was really funny, and here's something I'm going to say because I've talked to people before I saw this, and they said there were some people who say that you could see this movie without having seen The Room first, and it would still be really good. Um, I kind of disagree with that. Okay, we. I'm so glad that we decided to take our time and make sure we saw The Room first, which, by the way, is hard to find in a regular video rental store. I've ended up finding it in some like little indie rental store that happened to have a copy. Anyway, so I think it's imperative. Maybe not imperative. I think it's really going to enhance your experience if you watch The Room all the way through before you see this film. So if you're familiar with The Room and you know anything about Tommy Wiseau, which I would kind of recommend that too, maybe look up some facts about Tommy Wiseau. Um, Look up like funny or weird facts about Tommy Wiseau. Just read a little list of them and then watch The Room and then go see The Disaster Artist. Because it will have you laughing because of all the references, right? Um, I think, honestly, I can't say for sure, but I think the movie would still be pretty damn funny all the way through, even without having seen The Room, even with no point of reference. Okay? But I would probably rate it um, a good movie, an alright movie. I probably wouldn't want to see it again and whatnot. But, it was good for what it was, one-time viewing. Um, but because I was so familiar with The Room, I just recently watched it like a week ago, and I knew a little bit about Tommy Wiseau and his kind of weirdness. Um, I really enjoyed this movie, like we loved this movie, okay? And we kind of came to a consensus. We were talking about it today that as a standalone movie, if you were to watch it, with no point of reference, you had never seen The Room, never heard of Tommy Wiseau, you'd probably think it was pretty good. We would probably, between us, we'd probably rate it between a 7 and an 8, right? Like, it's not garbage. It's pretty good. It's funny, but it's not the greatest thing ever, okay? But with the points of reference, after seeing The Room, I give it a solid 9. I love this movie. Like I said, you need to see The Room first. You have to see The Room first. I don't know what it would be like without having seen The Room first, but I guarantee you your experience will be 1,000 times better if you see The Room first. Anyway, I love James Franco. I see like anything that he's in, whether it's an indie film or a big blockbuster film like Spider-Man or a comedy. I just love James Franco and Dave Franco too. He's hilarious, and this movie kind of brings them all together. It's pretty great. It's a pretty great film. Like I said though, please see The Room first because you're taking away from your own experience if you don't. Now, I will warn you, The Room is difficult. It's difficult to sit through. You're watching it and you're like, did they mean for this to be a comedy? That's how, I mean, it's not. It's supposed to be like a dramatic film. And it's so it's so outrageous that you're like, this can't be serious, right? They're not really being serious. And it was made in 2003, and you would think it was made like in 1990. Like, just like the way it was filmed and the way the characters dressed and the way they acted. It looked very like 80s, 90s-ish, like early 90s. And it's hard to believe that this was a serious film. But if you know anything about this director, Tommy Wiseau, you know that it was a serious, he was trying to make a work of art. And that's what made this movie so crazy, right? You're like, what? I also have to warn you that the first 30, 40 minutes of the film will really throw you off because of The Room. Not The Disaster Artist. Of The Room. So I'm just warning you because I want you to see The Room first. The first 30 to 40 minutes of The Room, there is an intense, like, Skinamax type sex scene that goes on way too long, right? 3 times in the first 30 minutes. There's these like intense R&B music playing, like candlelight type slow motion with like sex sounds. It's really awkward and it's really difficult to sit through. But if you can sit through it and you can make it through the entire movie of The Room and then you go see The Disaster Artist, you are absolutely going to love it. I guarantee it. Guarantee that if you watch The Room and you go see The Disaster Artist or you wait and see it on DVD when it comes out, you are absolutely going to love The Disaster Artist. Okay, so that's it. Good luck getting through The Room and enjoy The Disaster Artist because it is fantastic. Like I said, if you don't see The Room and you go see it, you're going to see a 7. You're going to see an 8 tops. But if you watch The Room first, read a couple facts about Tommy Wiseau, and you go see this movie, you're at least going to think it's an 8.5, okay? I give it a solid 9. Solid 9. All right. That's it for this review. I wasn't sure I was going to have time today to fit anything in because I'm in a crunch for time. I just got off work and I have to go get my son, but I had a free 10 minutes here, so I figured I'd do the review because I just saw the movie last night and I wanted to be fresh in my mind. A lot of stuff coming up. In the next couple videos, I'm going to talk about EMDR, which is a form of psychotherapy that helps with depression and anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder and all kinds of stuff like that. And I know a little bit about it from personal experience, and I wanted to talk about it because that's what I do on this channel. I just talk about whatever the hell I want. And yeah, that's it. And a couple more reviews coming, and that's it. We'll see you next time.